Hey guys, how's it going? So the new update is here. We have a brand new Field Cup as well as the new Mickey EX deal. So I'm going to be playing for quite a while, so I can talk about my thoughts on the Mickey EX deal while we play. But basically, the gimmick behind the Field Cup is it's like just like in Kingdom Hearts 1, the Hades Cup was the most difficult cup with the most high-level enemies. In this one, they put a bit of a twist on that. They've got technically less powerful enemies, I believe, but they put a restriction on you where you can only use Tier 4 or below medals. For people who've been keeping up with the events, this is pretty good for you. However, in recent times, there haven't really been that many events, so it could be a little bit tricky for some people to try and get through. So let's have a crack at it. As you can see, there's like these brand new skip tickets that we haven't had in our version before, which are basically like advanced versions of these skip tickets that we have seen before, but we can talk about that as we go. Let's do the first one. Okay, so before we go too much further though, I've made a little list of medals that I think might be helpful for this Field Cup. So again, the condition is tier 4 or below. So I've got a couple of them listed up here. So basically, any of the Organization 13 members that we just got should be big helps, especially if you're able to fully guilt them. And depending on what kind of traits you got, I used to use my Lucia B back in the day, and I was so lucky or happy to roll Grounds Defense -60 because it's like, that's a really useful trait. I might potentially be able to use this medal again. And then sure enough, we have the Field Cup, and I hope I can be able to use this medal again. So yeah, Organization 13 medals. Random tier 4s that you may have picked up along the way and potentially traded. Like I've got this random illustrated Terror here. It isn't guilted, but definitely if you guys have got guilted tier 4s, that should be an obvious go-to. But saying that, some tier 3s aren't useless either. Like let's have a look at... Okay, let's look at the multiplier in this guy right here. If you guys weren't aware, the way the game calculates damage is basically taking this number right here and timesing it by this number here. It's a very simplified way of how it works, basically. And then your buffs and debuffs are added into that. So right now, this is a 8,000, roughly 300 being times by a 2.94 multiplier. If we were to guilt the medal, for example, swap medals, I was looking for a medal like... Where's my Sykes A? You know, just the fact that we've been able to pull a lot of times lately means that we can guilt at earlier medals, like this tier 3 medal right here. Even though it's technically only a tier 3, the fact that it's guilted means it's actually going to hit way more powerfully than the tier 4. So this is really advice only for new players, but nonetheless, this 7,000 damage here is times by this 3.02 multiplier. But that 3.02 multiplier is actually doubled because we're looking at a tier 3 medal guilted out to 100%. So if you guys weren't aware, when you guilt the medal, that's what you're effectively doing, is you are increasing the special attack by a certain multiplier. So if you're giving an additional 100% of the multiplier to itself, for tier 3 medals only, it basically means that you're doubling the multiplier when it's at max. Any guilt that's at 100% will be doubling the multiplier that's written down here. But above that, like let's say you guilt something to 150, you're effectively guilting it by itself and then half again. So let's say this was guilted at 150% if it was, a tier 5 or tier 6 medal. It'd be the 3.02 times by itself, so added to itself again, so another 3.02 for 6.04, and then add another 1.5, which, 1.51, 1.51, added onto that again. So effectively, if this was guilted at 150%, it'd be hitting with a 7.5 multiplier, which again, let's compare that to Terra here, is only hitting with a below 3 multiplier. So don't discount your guilted tier 3 medals if you guys have them. They're definitely going to help you out here. General Defense down is going to help you out heaps. Mr. Smee and what's the other one? Owl. Basically clones of each other. This is a reverse magic version, and Owl is an upright speed. So if you have either one of them, they're definitely going to be useful. If you guys grabbed these medals, again, these ones are quite old, so a lot of new players probably won't have any use for these, but I love this medal, basically 3 tiers of strength, and the fact that I put the skill on it means it only costs me 1 gauge. It's a very, very useful medal. It's helped me out in Proud mode so many times. Yeah, definitely good to have. If you need gauge restore, again, this one's quite old at this point. One of my first videos, I believe, is talking about these guys right here. But if you do have these, that's fantastic. If you don't, well, they did just add 100 new places into the album, duh. So I'm believing that the Dalmatian medals are going to be coming out very, very soon. The fact that the Field Cup only lasts for just under 2 weeks is a little bit worrisome, because I don't know if, even if the Dalmatians are out by then, it's going to be a bit of a pain to try and actually get that... Oh, well, I should probably explain. The 101 Dalmatian medal is a gauge restoring medal, and it's one that with difficulty, sure, but it is one that can be farmed over and over again for extra attack potentially. So I don't know if anyone's going to be able to roll extra attack by the time the field cup is up, but hopefully we can get at least one copy and have a little bit of gauge restore. World of Final Fantasy medals, I'm trying to speed this up. World of Final Fantasy medals and the Tsum Tsums that are only tier 4. If you guys picked up the Tsum Tsums, they are fantastic medals for this situation. Like, I skipped them at the time because they were a little bit weak in terms of where the current meta was, but for an event like this, they're pretty much perfect. And the World Ends With You medals. If you don't have these, the World Ends With You medals are like perfect substitute for this. Let's see if I can find one right now. Because they cost 5, don't they? I believe. Yes, there we go, bam. So that's Joshua right there. Okay, so Joshua, Shiki, and I forget the other one. It's Neku, right? The World Ends With You medals basically give you 3 tiers for 2 hits. 3 tiers of strength and a debuff for 3 attacks, even better. So yeah, use them situationally. You'd want to use them at the back of your Keyblade to power up your most powerful medals, like your Gilded medals or your tier 4s. But we'll go through that as we get there. I think we should just jump ahead because there's like a bunch of event medals and a bunch of like defensive medals, like this guy right here and the HPO and all that other crap. But we'll get to it as we need it. Let's jump in and actually try and do this. Okay, so part 1 is against a level 200 defender and possibly friends. Like I said, I have not played this at all in the Japanese version. I have not seen what the enemies are up against. I've heard from people on my Discord that the levels get quite high, which is a little bit worrying, but... Oh, and they got counters. Hey, there's little white knights. Oh crap, I got auto turned on. So yeah, I haven't really customized my setup yet. Whatever, I may as well get the gauge back, why not? I'm using Counterpoint against this first one, just because I thought a power-based enemy might be beneficial, but it's not really helping me out here too much. Oh dear. Okay, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this, because we haven't really had a challenge in this game for quite a while. So... Oh, why not? Let's use Militia B. We'll get a chest right there. Okay, so round 1 is dead. Again, like, the first earlier rounds shouldn't be too bad, but we'll see where it starts getting difficult in terms of... Because we can only deal out so much damage with, like, tier 3s, especially if they aren't gilded. I'm sure a lot of people that have pulled, like, tons and tons and tons and tons and have a wide variety of gilded tier 3s and gilded tier 4s. Hey, we got our first skip ticket plus. We'll find this an absolute breeze. But for the rest of us, we'll be able to get through it. I've no doubt we'll be able to get through it. But yeah, let's get our fingers crossed. Okay, so we're already jumping up to level 250 here with a... God damn it. Okay, so I've done a quick setup here. It looks very, very nostalgic actually. It's reminding me so much of the setups that I used to have back in the day. I actually realized that I actually do have a gilded tier 4 medal, and apart from the 3 free ones we just got, apparently I gilded an Illustrated Riku A, which is one of the very first ever premiums to come out. So that's, I'm like, alright, sweet, I've got a, I've got a premium there. But basically to find out what you've got gilded, you can basically go, when you can filter by special attack bonuses, and filter by particular tiers. So you guys can go, and I'll show you in a second. Basically you can filter by special attack bonuses. Oh cool, I'm already at full SP. And for tier 3s or tier 4. So again, that one wasn't too hard. I don't think they are going to be too hard until it gets to a certain point, and then we'll be like, oh crap, it's getting pretty difficult. The enemy's general defense is getting pretty high, and then we might have to switch our strategy up a bit, but let's skip ahead here. I'll just show you guys real quick what I was talking about. So if you go swap medals here, and then go by sort, bang, let's undo that. And if we go by, where is it? Special attack like 3 or 4, well, let's just do 4, and see which special attack bonuses we've unlocked. You can see that I've pretty much only got Riku and the Twilight Thorn. I haven't actually gilded the other 2 yet, the Behemoth and the Trick Master. Because I'm waiting for a gilding campaign, and this one we had, like, I think I actually gilded that one by accident, if I'm honest. I thought I had one more reroll. Anyway, that's just a little tip. We're moving on to part 3. Okay, so this one looks a little bit tricky. We've got a healer on the side there, which is going to take 3 attacks and then re-heal the Bloody Bell. So if only we had, like, counter increasing medals, huh? Wouldn't that be nice? I still think Malusha is going to be doing enough. At least my Malusha is going to do enough to take these guys out. However, it is a worrying trend for, like, future enemies. Because that sounds like it could be problems as we get down the line. But yeah, the Organization 13 medals are really, really good, guys. They were seriously, they weren't underrated back in the day. In fact, they were like the lifeblood of free-to-play players. So if you have them from your old accounts, that's awesome. If you have them on your new accounts from the event the other day, but they're only at 3 dots, I wouldn't ever consider Mickey and bruising them. I don't think it's definitely not worth it just to complete this challenge, but I was going to say if only you could use like copycat medals, huh? But in our version, we don't have any tier 4 medals that are copycats. They're only tier 5, 6, and 7. I can talk about that later if you want, but basically in the Japanese version, they released Oogie Boogie and Lock, Shock, and Barrel in a high school. A broom, sweet. Every time. See if we can do it with the same setup. Yeah, basically I was saying in the Japanese version, they released Oogie Boogie and Lock, Shock, and Barrel, which were two tier 4 one tier 3 and one tier 4 copycat medals that basically do what the KHUx BBS in our version do, which copy backwards, whereas like Namine, Shion, and Vanitas copy forwards. So this is a pretty cool one. We don't have to worry about any enemies with counters over their heads, which is nice. I'm using the Cinderella and Jack, but I won't use both buffs. Again, it's really hard to know how old you guys' accounts are, because some of you could have been playing forever, but have accounts that are brand new if you decided to reroll, or... Oh, hello, you survived. Bang. Again, that pet's going to be very useful, because if you can't kill the enemies, but they only have 10,000 health left, the pet's going to jump in and do the work for you. If it's at least level 3 or level 2 does that happen, but anyway, I believe even after like 1 or 2 pulls from the latest banner, if you had no other medals at all, you should still be okay for that skill. Beautiful, so we got us a broom and we got 2 Moogles, which means we're going to have to go sell the medals again. Okay, round 5 against a cannon gun. So if I haven't stressed it enough, I really think the negative 60 traits on your tier 3 Gilded medals are going to be the real winner here. We'll see how far they can carry us, but like, ooh, bloody hell. This enemy's got a massive counter over its head, for example, and also 2 buffs to, ooh, all P, N, S, and M. Okay, this is like a perfect candidate for those other World Ends With You medals I was talking about. So if I end up getting smacked here, which I very, very well might. Hey, Poison Plus, I remember that. I haven't used that. I haven't used that in ages. I'm gonna get retaliated here. Woof, that hurts pretty badly. And he's still got the counter over his head. It's interesting. Let's not use Yuno. Let's just tap. Bloody hell. So Militia B is bloody hell. Okay, I should have used Yuno, I suppose. He's still got a bit of speed defense. Alright, I'm waffling a little bit, but I'm kind of surprised at just how much friggin' damage, or lack thereof, was just done. Jesus Christ. So now they both take a bit of damage and then retaliate, and I don't have any form of second chance, so I'm going to get killed already, and it's only at round 5. Okay. I had like almost forgotten about a time where we used Dispelling medals a lot, and so I'm just like, oh wait, Bell, that's a thing that exists. So I was thinking, maybe do I want to use, Joshua or any of the other World Ends With You medals. But now I'm thinking, like, what if I just, debuff a little bit earlier, as in just dispel a little bit earlier, and that way I don't have to use Joshua so late, and like all my medals can benefit from the buffs. So buff myself, debuff all the enemies, and then I'm going to start buffing myself a little bit with this one right here. Bonk, going to take a really, really sizable hit. Might as well throw on another buff, because we can. Throw on a debuff, I believe, with Yuna right there, and then we're going to pray that Militia is going to do some damage this time, because it's not riddled with debuffs. And Jesus Christ, it did nothing. How is that possible? Oh, is it plot? Hang on. Oh, did I not notice myself getting debuffed? Okay, so I'm guessing the rabbit debuffs you. Hang on, let's try that again. Okay, so let's try that again. So I've actually gone ahead and brought in an Illustrated Kyrie. So this is one of my random tier 4s that I picked up, just as I was doing one of my various pulls. So at the time I was kind of like bummed to have her, but now I suppose it's kind of good because I can use her to buff myself, and I can use this Alice here to do a single target dispel rather than all targets dispel, which is going to be nice. Now I just have to play around with either buffing myself twice this way, and then tapping, and then buffing myself again this way, and also dealing a little bit of damage. Not very much, granted, but hopefully enough that Militia can now finally take him out. Okay, great, it could. I was like going, what am I missing here? I can't believe it's doing so little damage. Okay, I'm an idiot, is what we're hearing. Because I didn't realize that. Wow, they did nothing. They only did 3 bars of health. That's crazy. Yes, cool. Back up to 19 bars and over. Yeah, so in terms of dispelling medals, there is Zero, which is like Jack Skellington's dog, but I believe that's an all target dispel. There's Anti-Form Sora as well, but I can't for the life of me remember if that's all targets or only single target. But in that quest there, yeah, I mean, single target dispels are probably, and like single target buffers in general, are probably going to be very, very useful here. So add that to the list of medals you can use. If you have got an illustrated Kyrie or a Pooglet, Pooglet's probably gonna, or Poo or Piglet, especially if you got either of those with extra attack by now. I was thinking like if I ever do roll one with extra attack, am I gonna be like annoyed by this? But who knows? All right, let's just have a quick peek into round 6 or 5 and see what kind of enemies we're up against, and then make a setup for that. Okay, only 2. Oh, Poison Archer. Okay, so only 2 enemies now, but one of them is a Poison Archer, and I really do hate these archers with such a passion. On the plus side though, neither of these guys have any buffs on them, so we are pretty free to switch out the Alice if we have to repeat this. I'm going to double buff here because why not? He's going to poison me, but because I've got defensive buffs that come from that, Cinderella, I'm not really going to be bothered by it too much. And I didn't get poisoned. Something must be carrying poison resist, or am I crazy? I'm assuming something's carrying poison resist then, and I got very lucky. Oh crap! Okay, so he's not dead. Let's fire off the Nova Blast here real quick. Again, I am carrying defensive debuffs because of that Cinderella and Jack. But you'll notice that I didn't even use Alice in this quest at all. So cool, I am able to survive pretty handily, but with about half health. So you guys might want to bring like a HPO or a Poo, Tigger, and Piglet, in case. Well, yeah, basically you can use it where I had Alice just then, because like I said, I didn't use Alice at all that previous turn. Okay, so I'm hoping that my Lucia can do 20k of damage, please. Okay, brilliant, that did heaps. So again, the organization 13 members, if I need to stress it again, are such winners here. Okay, so we've done the next part, let's go into the next one. I'll just point out while I'm here, if you got Vex and B, and especially if you got Vex and B with extra attack, keep this medal in mind because I think it's going to be extremely useful for these challenges, but I'll get back to the video. Oops. You've also got defensive options with Poo, Tigger and Rabbit, as well as HPO, depending on which ones you have and depending on either the guilds or the traits you got on it. Like I said, I got extra attack on this one, but this was a time where I couldn't play much and didn't actually get any guilds on this at all, or an appropriate trait. I didn't get extra attack on it. So if you have extra attack, this is going to be a very good medal for you because it has only 2 gauge cost, meaning it's very economical, and those buffs stack for up to 3 turns. This one's really good as well. It buffs your defense, but also your PSM defense, so it's quite handy. It does just cost a little bit more, but it does have a heal associated with it as well. If you had like an SP dropping skill, like SP0, SP1, SP2, what have you, that's a very good candidate for that medal. Again, like Pluto and the equivalent ones of these, which I forget now. I think a Pooh Bear was one of them, and Alice and the Cheshire Cat were the other. These might be appropriate depending on the kind of enemies you face, if you only face one particular type of enemy, but we'll get to that as we get to it. I'm hoping the setup that I've made right now will be enough to get me through this next thing, which I believe is a Fat Bandit, accompanied by whatever it's accompanied by. Okay, so we're loading into part 7? I can't even remember now. Either part 6 or part 7 right now. So it's a Fat Bandit with... oh god. Okay, so we got some counter enemies here again. But luckily we still do have our single target, which is really nice. We use a single... I was going to say we use the single target on the enemy that doesn't have a counter over its head, but I guess we'll just ignore that order and do whatever we feel like. Okay, so I don't see any... Okay, so he dispelled me when he retaliated. That really sucks. That's really annoying. Especially because he's level 450 as well. Okay, so I screwed this up. I may as well just restart. Okay, what? Okay, so we finally got it to go off correctly, and I'm just going to ask you guys to pretend you didn't see that before, where I cut back in and attack the wrong enemy again. Okay, so we're going to do all these buffs yet again, and do a little bit of damage here with Yuna, not too much, but hopefully enough that my Lucia can come in and finish it off. I'm only using my Lucia just at the start because it's a really nice area of effect medal, but I mean Sykes B is honestly a really good medal in its own right. Like, it has a ridiculously high multiplier, and if you've gotten rid of most of the other enemies and you're just down to one, it effectively acts as a single target medal because it's a random target, but again effectively acts as a single target once all the enemies are dead, or the other enemies are dead rather. So I might end up switching to that at some point, depending on the situation, but for now we're okay with area of effect medals, but again, we'll see. Let's move on to the next part. Okay, it looks like target number 8 is a Trickmaster Omega, which I'm guessing is going to have quite a lot of HP. We use its antics to lower your defense and prolong the battle. Okay, so we're going to want to boost our defense, definitely. So HPO, Pigga, Poo, Tigger, Rabbit, I do that every time. And any other medals that boost your defense will be pretty appropriate here. It's probably time to switch this medal out. If you guys have the Twilight Thorn that came out not too long ago, it's probably a really, really good candidate for this. Especially if you have like a spare attack boost 4 with like gauge 0 lying around. You're probably going to do quite a lot of damage. So we'll try that setup real quick. I'm just thinking now, I do have this Zoldan B here, which in my case is going to be a little bit stronger. Because the multiplier is a little bit lower, but I have got a skill on this already. I already do have attack boost 3 max on it, and you know I'm a pretty big stinge when it comes to spending resources, so the fact that I haven't put a skill on this thing already is pretty much like, well, if I haven't already, and I would probably like try and avoid it if I could. So I'm gonna go with this one just for now. For you guys though, definitely consider using Twilight Thorn. Look at that, we got a Ziggy B as well, actually. I might consider using Ziggy B because he's a good friend of mine, good friend of the show. And yeah, he got a really good trait on him, so I might consider using that instead, actually. Let's go with Zoldan just for now. Nah, fuck it. Let's use Zigbar B just for now. And what's on the pet slot? I'd say Riku there, why not? Alright, let's give it a go. Alright, here we go, so let's see how much health here. 120 bars of health, alright. So pretty just, whoop, let's turn off auto. Which is pretty much why I brought along Sebastian instead of Kairi because of that SP1 skill. And pretty much everything here, like I did choose him also because of his SP attack gauge 2. I've got a Donald here with APP, and because it's a pretty good attacker all on its own. Riku's kind of out of place here, but whatever, he's along for the ride. And let's hope we can take this guy down before he destroys us. No counter over his head, which is very nice. Yeah, alright, I'll do this once, and then hopefully that's enough defense where we don't have to keep applying more and more. I'd love it if APP started going off. I've not said that in a long time. It's been... It's gonna be fun. I'm actually quite looking forward to the rest of this cup. Okay, Ziggy's doing pretty decent damage, and I think a lot of that is because of his negative 60 traits, but also the fact that he reduces 2 layers of general defense every single time he attacks. Lovely attack boost 3, Riku doing a nice bit of work there, and let's see the damage. Okay. So it looks like 3 layers of defense is more than enough. I didn't have any defense boost skills trigger there. Oh, probably because I don't actually... Right, I don't actually have any. I was thinking I might have had some. So if you guys don't have Cinderella and Jack, basically the effect of this is that it lasts 2 turns. So I'm going to apply only once here, but mainly for the heal. But so you guys might have to change it up a little bit to keep 3 gauges consistently active on you. Pooh, Tigger, and Rabbit, I said it correctly for once, is really great because that effect lasts 3 turns. So effectively, if you want to, you can apply it just once every turn for 3 turns, and then you'll always be at +3. You won't have to add any more defensive buffs on top of yourself after that, so that's pretty nice. The really cool thing about Cinderella and Jack though is it also gives me a nice little buff to my PSM, which is going to help me clear this boss a little bit faster. But again, it's not super tough. Again, 3 layers of defense should be more than adequate based on what we just saw. Again, if you have HPO, you might need even less than 3 because it buffs your PSM defense as well as your general defense. So again, I'm just gonna, why not, put on all the layers, why not? I'm good. Oh yeah, we got APP, beautiful. So we're back up to full gauges, excellent. That's so nostalgic, man. That was like all the YouTube videos back in the day were like, come on APP, come on APP. Ah, oh, it didn't work. That's so funny. Oh man, it's classic. Alright, so we're getting there, we're getting there. Hopefully the next turn it should be dead. Oh, cheeky bastard just recovered his HP. Okay, so, and he boosted his defenses as well. You little bastard. Did he make himself stronger or just... Okay, he might have given himself an offensive buff just for that turn, just to hit me with. But he's rocking +1 speed defense now, which is really annoying. Okay, so I wonder how we're going to kill him. I wonder how often he rebuffs. Hopefully we're going to break the threshold and get him to a point where he'll just attack us again and not worry about buffing, but we'll see. Okay, so that hurt him quite a lot. Let's see, hopefully Riku's going to do a good bit of damage here. Okay, we are making progress still. We're definitely making progress because we're down to 12 and a bit bars and he did not recover there, which is beautiful. And I'm at +7 defense, so I'm not really worried about my gauges anymore, because again, these buffs last for multiple turns, so they're stacking up pretty nicely. I really don't need to use Rabbit here, but I'm going to anyway, because why not? APP does not trigger yet again, even though I've got skill perks coming out the wazoo, but whatever, that's pretty much what those skills are for, to irritate us. And he is finally dead. The pet kicks in, gives me an extra one of his items. Alright, let's pick up the chest and be on our way. That was part 8, we are halfway there, guys. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, a level 500 Omega Darkside in round 9. This could be a problem because these guys stereotypically love debuffing your defensive buffs, or just dispelling you entirely. So this could be a bit of an issue, but let's see. It might be a case where we have to reduce his attack rather than buffing our defense for this guy. But we shall see, won't we? Yikes, 131 bars of HP. And he's got defensive buffs, and oh crap, and he's got those buffs right off the gate. This could be a little bit tricky, but oh, let's see how much we do. Might as well put it on auto, why not? It does a little bit of damage there, that's nice. We've had APP trigger once this entire time. Which is interesting. Ziggy's going to come in and get rid of that defense, which is nice. But basically, like, the Dark Ball is pretty much the only attack that's going to be annoying to us here. The rest of them should be fine, they won't dispel us. Okay, here's the Dark Ball. And I've now been poisoned, but my buffs seem to have remained. Hey, and look at that, the pet came in and healed the first layer of poison for us, which is nice, but it won't do that again. It's going to cure the poison once, but again, in this battle, it won't cure it again. Okay, so we're just hoping that Dark Ball never dispels us. If it never dispels us, we're fine. This defensive strategy will be more than capable of working again. So, sorry guys, it's going to be a little bit boring as we just whittle through the turns, but at least we've got auto mode on, so I don't even have to think about making these easy motions anymore. I can just, okay, here we go. Just talk to you guys. Okay, my defense got debuffed a little bit, but not my PSM defense, which is perfect. With PSM defense high enough, it's pretty much irrelevant what he does to us. He isn't increasing his attack at all, so this is completely fine. Easy peasy. And if we versed Hades in the Hades Cup, does that mean we get to verse Phil in the Phil Cup for the final round? That'd be pretty sweet. Kick his little goat ass, get up on the Phil's back. Alright, so typically other Omega Darksides get annoying around this HP mark. They have like special attacks, so okay, now he's just going to reach into the ground again, dispel our attack a little bit. Oh, look at that, he got rid of some of our buffs. No, he didn't. No, they're all still there, never mind. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit less damage this turn because he debuffed our offense. Again, hopefully this setup is useful to you guys. It's not really costing me that much gauges, which is nice. Look, he has actually a pretty high rate of giving SP back to you, which is very, very nice. But even then, an APP skill wouldn't go astray. And skills that aren't too expensive, like 4 gauge costing skills, are pretty nasty. Here we go. Yeah, I'm still at PSM +7, so this is not a problem. And this should be the final turn. Because he's buffed his attack and his speed attack quite high. But again, I'm at +7, so I'm more or less untouchable at this point. Okay, and this should be not the final attack, but the one after should be. Hopefully. We'll pick up our chest, be back up to full, and be on our way. Beautiful. Fantastic, so that was, I believe, part 9 or 10. I don't know why I can't keep count. It's very simple, but anyway, I'll see you guys in either 10 or 11. Okay, round 10 is a Omega Behemoth, so second verse, same as the first. We pretty much should have expected this, given that we had a magic one, then a speed one. It would follow that the power one was next. We're almost 2/3 of the way through, and it hasn't been too difficult thus far, but that's not to say that it won't get difficult. Okay, 176 bars of health. This is going to go in exactly the same way. I believe at +7 defense, we really shouldn't have anything to fear. And if we do, we can invest some defense boost skills into our setup, perhaps. Hopefully paralysis doesn't play a factor here, but it might, given that we're versing a Behemoth. Donna's going to shine here. Hey, finally had a chance to do something with that APP. And Ziggy's going to come in as well. So it might be worth switching out one of my medals, potentially, like this Riku here, because it's a speed type. Might be worth getting a magic medal in to do some good damage on the end. Bonk. Okay, that hit really hard, but at +3 we're able to survive it pretty easily. So we're going to go up even higher than +3 now, which means that we should be pretty much okay from now on. Unless he dispels us, which he could debuff us. If that happens, I might unpause it, because this is going to be really, really boring for you guys. I'm just literally whittling him down. With auto mode on, so I'm not even playing, basically. Yeah, gameplay. Alright, I'll wait till this turn and see if he dispels us or anything, but if not, I might just skip ahead till the end, just to save you from boredom. Yeah, okay, we're fine. Alright, I'll see you in a second. If he does anything but dispel us, I'll unpause and we'll talk about it, but I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so he did the lightning attack just then at 82 bars of HP, so like the lightning shot out of his horn. It paralyzed us, but we seem to have all our defensive buffs back on at least, which is very nice. And again, the pet took care of the paralysis in like 1 second anyway, so it wasn't that big of a deal. However, if he does re-paralyze us, it could be a bit of an issue, especially if our damage output is not that great, because if we get paralyzed enough, we could skip potentially enough defensive debuffs to the point where we get into a bit of trouble, but he's gone back to the claw now, so that's nice. Hopefully that little lightning attack is like a pretty small window of health for him to retaliate with that attack in, and hopefully we've already missed it, but we'll see. Again, I'll pause it and unpause it if anything happens. Okay, we've been paralyzed again, but hopefully we have a pretty decent run and everything goes smoothly, which it is so far, which is very, very nice. Is the paralysis going to last the full turn, or is it going to wear off here? Lasted the full turn, but I've gotten exceptionally lucky and it's not been a problem, which is very nice. And it's worn off after the 5th attack, so a bit of a war of attrition, but at the end of the day we cleaned up pretty easily with defensive buffs.